You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Guys and gals, never here from Drake Wing Gaming, and send me on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you on a Let's Play episode of Sileo, Tai's Path. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go! Perhaps Sebastian is another of Spencer's ancestors. After all, did you notice? Ignoring the middle words, the initials SM. Yo, no way! Too weird to be a coincidence at this point. They have to be connected somehow. And Spencer's money? His connections to the government? It kind of makes sense when you think about it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get busy trying to link Sebastian to Solomon and Spencer somehow. I have a good feeling about all this. Good spotting, Dom. Thanks. Oh, hey, before you go. What's up? Well, it looks like I will be going to the hot springs tomorrow after all. Axel is coming, and, well, so is Russell. Axel would feel more comfortable if there were more of us going. You understand. Man, next thing you know, it's one big orgy. I'm gonna steer clear, thanks. Sounds way too gay for my liking. I have lost the will to even argue the point with you, Diego. I take it, he can count on you to come, Hunter. A hot spring? In the company of my friends? Sounds like a fantastic excuse to take my mind off, well, everything. I'm down. Might even do me some good. Great. I'll, see you tomorrow, then. Thanks for the photo, Dom, and the invite, too. Thanks, Dom. Thanks, Dom. Specifically for the first one, though. My pleasure. Good night. With the call having ended, Diego and I stood staring at the picture still on my screen, wondering just what to make of it all. So, how about now, then? What do you mean? Still want to just leave it? Pretend it never happened? Come on, your mystery senses must be tingling like crazy. This shit is exciting. Come on, I know you're curious, and it's like I said, better to put in the legwork now than spend the rest of your life wondering. Fine, I guess you're right. You know, I feel like we're getting closer. I guess I want to know why this shit had to happen. Yes, I knew you'd come around. We're gonna uncover both Tai and Spencer's secrets, whether they like it or not. I sure hope so. You're right, I have to see this through. That's the spirit, you know? You know, you're taking this whole thing surprisingly well. You don't actually seem that upset. Yeah, truth be told, I'm just angry, disappointed, pissed off. I feel like I've been taken for a ride misled, you know? Used like I never even mattered in the first place. I don't know, dude, you might be right, but this whole situation is weird. Hopefully we can find some answers that'll start to make some more sense. Yeah, hope you're right. Well, it's late. I'm tired. I bet you're tired, too. Why don't you take your pissed-off ass to bed? Get some shut-eye before you get naked in front of the boys tomorrow. Hey, that isn't fair, and you know it. Heh, can't say I blame you. Shopping around for a replacement. Why not take a peek at the goods up front, eh? Maybe one of them will impress you. You know it isn't like that. Do I, though? Second, y'all. It is water time. Alright, guys and gals, we are back. Let's go ahead and jump back into it, shall we? Okay. But I can't mess with you another time. Good night, Hunter. Sleep well. I'll get to the bottom of this soon, I swear. Night, Diego. And I'm holding you to it. Diego disappeared down the hallway towards his bedroom, and I quickly followed suit, switching out the lights and locking the front door before heading into my own. I switched into my sleepwear, thankfully currency-free on this particular evening, and crawled underneath the warm covers. I still felt numb. Was this all there was to it? Where was the grief, the pain? Why could I only feel anger and disappointment? Maybe we hadn't been together long enough, or maybe I'd somehow subconsciously prepared myself for this possibility and spared myself that grief. I didn't know for sure. Perhaps in finding the answer to why it had to happen, I would find the answer to this predicament as well. I nonetheless felt lost, confused, dizzy from the sudden and jarring crash in my momentum. It wasn't even the first time in recent memory I had felt this way, but I was going to make damn sure it would be the last. I wasn't going to put myself through all this again. But what was I going to do now? Oop, someone's knocking on that door. Yo, Hunter, you awake? Day 14. My dreams came to a jarring halt as Diego's knocking tore me from my blissful slumber. I groaned as I grappled with the weight of my eyelids, desperately fighting to keep my eyes open as I rolled over to face the door and permitted access to my newfound visitor. Well, I am now. Come in. Shit, sorry for waking you, dude. It's just, well, it's late. Can't really call it breakfast anymore if you eat past noon, huh? Hope you're hungry. In my freshly woken drowsiness, I had failed to notice the plate which had accompanied Diego into the room. Carefully stacked upon it, wobbling precariously with every small movement, was something of a hybrid between our typical breakfast burgers and eggs Benedict. With a smile that betrayed his concern, Diego rested the plate atop my dresser before shifting over to the bed and perching himself on the edge. His thick tail brushed to and fro with an admirable vigor, disturbing the blanket which mercifully covered my legs, which were secretly and unusually bare. Despite being in the midst of fall, the night prior had been warmer than I anticipated. An interesting curiosity. I always slept better and with far greater ease when I was snuggled up in a thick, warm blanket. I suppose that, in a way, it was my version of sleeping with a stuffed animal or clutching a pillow. Back in Sidonia, I had a portable air conditioner. Alas, it was sold alongside the rest of my belongings. So, last night I stripped down, keeping my thick blankets and their associated comforts. I just hoped that my nudity in such proximity to Diego would remain a secret, lest we have an awkward repeat of the scene a night before last. I got a little fancy with our breakfast this morning. Already eaten mine. Cooked yours after, so it's fresh, and I can personally vouch that it's good. Still can't believe you slept in so late. It made sense. After all, I'd switched my alarm off the previous night. My one remaining employer had not requested my presence, and thus I had the day off to do with as I pleased. Sadly, having enjoyed so much sleep, I felt groggier and more tired now than ever before. It required an immense surge of effort to prop myself up against my pillow, which in turn was similarly propped against the wall behind me, offering a semi-comfortable position in which to sit upright. Of course, in spite of my tiredness, the sheer hypocrisy of Diego's criticism over the time of my awakening was not lost on me considering his dramatic performance the day before. While I could have merely let it slide, I was not content to allow any opportunity to tease my best friend slip by unexploited. If I recall, wasn't your cranky ass grumbling about being woken up so early about this time yesterday? What? That's different. It's not, though. It is. Oh yeah? How? Shut up! I unleashed a deliberately exaggerated snort as Diego grumbled in indignation. However, in a move very much unlike him, he then promptly dropped the topic, instead choosing to pursue one that had obviously been in the forefront of his mind throughout the entire morning. Hey, I just wanted to say, Diego hadn't even arrived at the intended topic before becoming flustered. Of course, I knew right away what it was going to be, and found it a little strange that despite having had similar discussions before, he still found it hard to bear his more sensitive side. I hope you're doing okay, man. I don't want to say that I know what you're feeling right now, but I have at least some idea, you know? What happened between Kyrex and I? It was different, but it sucked in a very similar way. And I don't want you to think that I'm insane, that I'm making shit all about myself either. I've been called out on that before, and that's not it. I understand, Diego. I know that for you that's a form of empathy, just not one that everybody seems to recognize or consider to be valid. You're trying to express understanding and sympathy by relating my experiences to your own. You've been there before, and you know how much it sucks. Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, I just caught myself doing it. Well, I've been called out on it before, so I wanted to make sure it didn't seem like I was just hijacking the situation. You're my best friend, Diego. Have been for years and years. I know you better than that. But even then, you haven't talked a lot about Kyrex and about what went down. And you know you're welcome to it if you feel the need. Thanks, dude, but nah, not right now anyway. I've had weeks to process everything. You've had hours, so yeah, I know you guys weren't dating long. In the right situation with the right person, I guess it doesn't take long to sort of fall in love, you know? The thing about relationships is habit and codependence. You sort of become used to life with their involvement. Used to them being here. They're such a big part of your life, they almost had become a part of you. When you lose that, you almost have to rebuild yourself, fill in that X-shaped void in your life. The other thing about long relationships is that unless you're super lucky and find the person who completes you or some shit, your feelings tend to settle over time. And if things suck, especially for a long time, the hardest part is just filling that void. The unfamiliarity of life after love. You know, in the first few weeks of my relationship with Kyrex, if you asked me if I loved him, I'd have said yes. Things are super intense in the beginning. I mean, maybe not in all the right ways, but I got caught up in all that, and emotionally, I went all in. With you and Ty, jeez, things for you guys were even more intense. I always noticed these things, like how you always smiled when you talked about him, even if you didn't notice it, or how much admiration you clearly had for him. I know you that you did the same. You went all in. Even that second time after that little hiccup, you didn't entirely trust him, but you still banked everything on him. I don't know. I guess it's often a big mistake, and one that you the one that you only really make once. One that most people make out of recklessness or inexperience. One that cuts you so deep when it goes awry that you might never do it again, even for the right person. Leaves one hell of a scar. I speak from experience. I was stupid. Ignored so many red flags. Ignored my gut. Gave my heart to him, and it came back shattered into tiny pieces. Sorry, I know I said I wasn't going to hijack this. Am I on the right track so far? I understood what Diego was saying. I had gone all in for Ty. I gave him my heart without hesitation or trepidation, and I gave him my trust, or perhaps more poignantly, my faith. All for what exactly? Was I just his plaything? A toy for his amusement? What about Spencer? Was he also one of Ty's playthings? Were there others besides just he and I? Was Spencer even into that sort of thing? He obviously knew that Ty and me were together. Maybe that was part of the thrill. I knew I'd gotten lost in a mental tangent. I know I had no grounds for a lot of what I felt. They were a product of my anger, of my disappointment, of my shattered hopes and dreams. But a shattered heart? I wasn't so sure. It wasn't hurting quite like that. Maybe it never would. Maybe I'd gotten carried away and fooled myself into thinking that I felt some way that I didn't about him. Maybe my heart was undamaged after all. Or perhaps... Dude? Oh, sorry, just thinking about it all. Honestly, I'm just angry. I'm pissed off at Ty, disappointed. Things were good between us. At least I thought they were. I just can't believe he has feelings for someone else. Yeah, man, I get it. I guess, I don't know. For me, I was mad at him for a long time. You know, technically we were still a thing, and he wasn't upholding his end of the bargain or whatever. It happened slowly, so my anger grew slowly. It was way later on that I found the hurt. I say found because, well, it was kind of like that. I didn't think I was hurting or anything. I was just mad. Furious, even. I knew full well he was off sleeping with someone. My blood boil. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon, YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!